Well, good afternoon, people. It is Tuesday and we are live waiting for Martin. We have a good topic for you guys today. Um, let's see if I could try to do this real quick.
Hey, that worked out nicely,
Yeah,
didn't it?
yeah. How are you, Drew? How are you?
I,
Good afternoon.
I'm good afternoon. I'm doing okay. I continuing to center myself. So word for today, actually two words, breathe and what else can I say? Um, alignment. Because it's necessary in these times. And sometimes it takes a while, but that's just the way it is. We've got something good to talk about today. So, what happens to your body once you start a plant based diet, good and bad? And then you know me, I'm going to throw in some my 2 cents.
Mhm. Of course. Yeah, I think we've been talking about these topics for quite a few weeks now, and I thought we would just kind of go back into the macro level and just take a look at pros and cons of both. Whether you are gonna go plant-based or you want to continue eating your meat, but at a relatively good portions, and that way you're not over consuming and over kind of overweighing the scale a little bit when we want to have equal portions in all three aspects, whether it's healthy fats, proteins, and the grains for our carbs, as they say. So I was just going to start off with the negatives of going plant based. Obviously, that those are the first things that people think of. Well, you're not going to get enough protein, and so I just wanted to kind of go into a little more. So I have three. The first one, and obviously the first one that everyone brings up is that you're not going to get enough nutrients that you need, whether it's from protein, minerals, or even the nutrient intake that you need from minerals and such forth from there. And yeah, a big portion when you are eating animal meat, they do have those in them just because they are a mammal, and you will have those benefits in the meat as well. And then obviously, when you're adding your seasonings and herbs, you can add on more beneficial um, increments of vitamins or minerals that you're looking to get out of there. So you can for sure uh, kind of handle yourself and understand that, hey, you know what? I don't want to go plant based because I'm not going to get enough protein that I need throughout the whole day. I don't have time in my day to prep meals and do all this stuff, and it's easier for my lifestyle. And that's how it goes, and that's how it works, and that's totally fine. My only thing is, especially is just if you are going to have that meat, make sure it's as lean as possible. And that way you are getting most of those proteins and vitamins and minerals that you're looking to get out of meat. And that's the point of eating it. Most of the time we don't feel good after eating the same meal. It could be a burger, but just because of the meat quality, it could throw us all off. So that's my only thing there, is making sure that you're getting the right source of meat, because one of the negatives is when you do go plant-based, you may not get that plethora of protein, vitamins, and minerals in one sitting, where you kind of have to add different ingredients, such forth from there. So yeah, that was my first one from there. Any thoughts that you have in terms of uh, the the negatives of going into plant-based and sticking with the meat?
Okay, yeah. So most people have a problem with the term plant-based.
Hmm.
The negative part. Yeah. So the negative part, I guess I could say about it is a lot of people don't understand it. Plant-based, is it vegan? Is it not vegan? What gives people, well, let's say, the issue, I think, is people are afraid of the term plant based
Mm,
because they do like their
mm,
meat. However, you're right, as a plant based eater or a person that makes the choice to become plant based, they can eat
mm,
meat. It's not that they can't eat meat.
mm,
And you're right, to make it as lean as possible, preferably omega 3, as long as like salmon. Some people can do chicken, but I personally will find the chicken that has no additives, no preservatives, more natural. So I don't consider myself plant based
mm,
because I'm allergic to nuts.
mm,
And so I say I'm a clean
mm.
eater, but I've always been a vegetable lover.
Yeah.
So the term itself, plant based, if we can get people through that and not make it, oh, well, I'm a plant based eater or I eat clean, go with what works for your body.
Yeah,
That's
yeah, I
what
agree.
I have.
Yeah, and that's actually my second one is that plant-based meals are not for everybody. Some people, because of their genetics and their lifestyles, they're just used to it. And different parts of the world, whether you're from different parts of the world, different continents have different foods that their bodies are used to. In Asia, in Africa, in Europe, in South America, North America, we all have different foods that we've been eating and our families, our ancestors for hundreds of years, and to just quick out and shoot and do something different, there's going to be some negatives to that. There will be a transition where your mind, your body, you won't know what's going on, you won't know how you feel. That's normal with anything that you've been doing for a while and you stop and you do something new. I mean, I the biggest thing for me was, I'll never forget, was my first day after graduating from college. I was like, wow, I don't have to go to school. Like, I just wake up and now I've got to do something with my life. You know what I mean? So you kind of hit that, like, we're like, whoa, what do I do? And what do I go from here? So like I said, I don't think it's for everybody. I think some people have their lifestyle, they have their ways. I mean, I know me, even in the Middle East, and it's kind of more of a Mediterranean. They're taking a slice of ham, taking a slice of chicken here, eating some olives, eating some bread, eating some hummus. So it's not really like shoving the food in your mouth, but it's more like Spanish style, like tapas, where you get like a little bit of this, a little bit of that. There's like 8, 9 different dishes, but you're picking and eating from each single one. And like I said, I don't have anything against meat. I just have a problem with oversized portions on your plate and overindulging. I think some of us are like, oh, I'll eat another burger. Oh, I worked out extra hard today, I'm gonna eat some extra food. And that stuff is not good for your body because it just piles up, and your body can't metabolize and get all that rid of it. It can't get rid of it because it's not used to it. And then that's when we go back into a bad cycle of health. So my whole thing is, if you're used to it, don't try to jump off the bridge and completely do something different. If you're used to it, I'm just saying, go back to the first point and say, if you can get it as lean as possible, do it. And the next thing is, just be cautious with what some foods do work for you and what don't. Okay, you've got the meat down, but some rice might bother you, and rice is supposed
Right.
to be a healthy and good thing. But I know some relatives of mine. I have a couple aunts. They can't eat rice. It's like it readily puts inflammation in their body, the sodium, and everything throws their whole body off. And so they eat
Yeah.
veggies, they have a couple grains, they have their meat, and they're fine. And there's nothing wrong with that. You know what I mean? But at the same token, it's how we are relieving the stress and helping our bodies. They go for a walk. I mean, especially when I was in Europe, they were going for walks to the dairy, to the bakery. We're going to walks to the mall. We're going to walk. Everywhere is a walk. So that's a healthy lifestyle. You know what I mean? It's not something where I eat my 10 wings and I sit down and watch my favorite Netflix film. That's when we start having bad routines and bad habits. So yeah, that was my second point. And just some people really can't take that type of food or new nutrition in their lifestyle.
That's a good point. That's a good point. Our culture, because we are people of color, um, and we were taught, like me, raised up where everything you do in moderation.
Mm,
That's where we're similar, because now that we are older, culturally, there's a spread.
mm,
So we have pork, ham,
yeah,
turkey, beef, but you never see salmon on the table as a whole salmon, unless well, as I got older, we would have dinners and we appreciate clean eating.
mm,
So there's maybe a salmon fillet.
yeah,
But back in the day, most people know to eat in moderation.
yeah,
But that's the point. Going clean, eating raw, you can eat a little, like you say, as lean as possible, but consume more vegetables. And we need it. Okay, so let's just say eating raw, the benefit is to cleanse your gut
mm,
and to have, what am I trying to say? We can talk about the microbes, because what is the microbes? It literally helps your intestines.
mm,
It lies in the digestive system.
mm,
So what is the ultimate goal? And why are we eating healthy? Why are we eating clean? Why are we eating raw? Why are we eating all these different names?
yeah,
It's to keep our gut clean.
yeah,
So once we keep our gut clean, we definitely are more mindful of the foods that we eat. I love olives, although it's fattening,
yeah,
but yet it's a good
yeah,
fat.
yeah,
I love hummus, although hummus is really chickpeas. It's the fiber that keeps us regulated.
yeah.
So, yeah, I love that you're talking about this today, because although we're different, although we say different terms,
Mm,
we're really similar.
yeah. Yeah, and that's the thing. It's you really can't escape who you are, where you've come from, where your family is from. As you know what I mean? It might take a generation to flip it, but like I said, I think your body will align when you start eating the food that your family's been eating when you were a child, that they've been eating when they're a child. It just, syncs better with who you are and how you function. And then lastly, before I go into the positives, lastly, obviously the biggest one is just better for animal welfare. I know I don't want to talk too much into it, but just in terms of keeping a healthy ecosystem around, instead of fish markets and markets for beef and this and that, and we know how much that's extracted. And over the years, they've actually done studies where the emotions of that animal are actually in the muscle tension of what you're eating. And that wasn't relatively there, I would say, in the 80s, 90s, even early 2000s. They said that over the last, I think the study happened in 2017. I'll find the link. But they did a study on the
There's one,
actual, sorry.
yeah, there's studies as far back as 2000.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Yeah, so that was just one of the ones that I was interested in. And when I found that out, is just because, they are attached to that. They do have a brain, understand kind of what's going on. And when they see, a cow going through there and what's being done, there's a certain sense of emotion, of anxiety and anger
yeah,
that's put in like the tissues of the muscles, and that's what you're eventually eating. So they say, when you're consuming that, that could put your emotional state at a difference as well. And I never thought about it, but I'm like, that's kind of true. When I was eating meat, after it, I was usually lazy, tired, unmotivated. It usually took something to kind of get me going. And that was interesting. And I said, yeah, I could see that connection between the muscle, the brain, and we're eating those brain cells, and they're all talking to each other. So that's obviously another negative there. So, yeah, I just want to go into the positives. These positives are something that most people don't want to think about. But I think what we have to also remember is that these positives are just as good as you going to the gym and committing yourself to the gym. These things are not like, oh, you got to do this and you got to go to the gym and you got to have organization. It's like, just focus 100% on this, on your body, on your mind, on your soul, your mind, body, and soul. And that way, these things will start just getting better in time and not have to, oh, I've got to lose 20 pounds and I've got to go do yoga, then I've got to go do this. It'll just come all together once you start fixing up your nutrition. And it'll actually be easier for you than if you did want to go to the gym. It'll actually be easier for you. So I have 5 points here. I know we've spoken about these many times, but I'll just run through them again. The biggest one that it helps in is just helps lowers blood pressure. With you consuming meat, it is acidic. It does take a lot of energy out of you, and it does have to pump more blood in there to break down that meat and whatever's in there. Obviously, if it's as lean as possible and not big portions, it can just boom, 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 dissolve it in a regular, 30 minutes, 45 minutes, and then it's fine to go throughout the body and go from there. But I think when you're overindulging, when you're not eating as good quality meat, it takes longer to digest, and that just means more energy from your body being put to something that you thought was going to give you energy and help you feel better and help you get going. So that's one of the biggest ones, is just helps lowers your blood pressure. And I think the biggest thing is we want to relieve blood pressure. Let's not get our blood pressure high. Let's not get our emotions high. Let's keep our stress levels low. And we want to be as calm as possible, but that doesn't mean you can't think fast. You can still think fast. You can still think creatively, but not in terms of forcing yourself like, oh gosh, it's going to take me, I need a coffee, or I need 20 more minutes, or I need a little sun to get there. So that's one of the biggest benefits from there. So your thoughts on that before, and you'll probably say, do you want me to just run through them and we can talk about them all in a whole, because they're all relatively similar, and I can just run through them, and that way you can nick and pick whichever ones you want. So the next thing I have here is it helps prevent diabetes. So you'll be lowering your sugar levels. You'll be lowering the chances of you comprising diabetes, or let alone your offspring. So for women, it may not happen to you when you are going through what you're eating and drinking. You may not get the negatives of this, but it's in your body, and this might be passed on to your offspring as well. So those are that's another one, is help prevent diabetes. The second one is the third one is it helps for a healthier heart. With all those the meat and the fat of meat, it just sticks onto your blood vessels, it sticks in your heart, and those are what causes blood pressure to rise, and it doesn't make our heart healthy. The biggest muscle that you want to take care of in your body is your heart. You need that, and that doesn't mean you can sprint for 10 hours and do all this and that. That's not the thing. But a healthy heart, where you're able to walk up a flight of stairs, grab groceries out of the bag from your car to go to your house, being able to do a little activity, a yoga, a Pilates, a bike ride, doing something where after you're doing it, it doesn't take all of your mental energy, and makes your body feel like jello. That's what we don't want. We want to keep a lean, strong body, and in order to do that, your heart's got to be at its finest to be pumping that blood in those areas where it needs to recover after such activities from there. The fourth one that I have here is it lowers the risk of cancer. One thing that people don't really understand is everybody has cancer cells in their bodies. The only thing is you don't want to trigger them. You don't want to antagonize them to wake up and get them bigger. So you don't want them to get radical. And the way they get radical is by eating food with ingredient names that we can't pronounce, or overindulging in yourself. That's what throws off the body and increases those cells to say, okay, we've gotten bigger and stronger. And then, like I said, it's something within you that's happening. And it's not an outside source causing cancer. It's you with your habits that's increasing the likelihood of that happening. And then lastly, I have here, it just improves your overall mental health and well-being. Like I said, besides injuries for myself that have gotten better, I just felt more more. I mean, I never drank a cup of coffee before in the morning, but I just felt even more inclined to wake up in the morning, have more energy. I even felt like my muscles and my tendons just a little more loose. I felt like I could stretch more. I felt like my waist, I could like turn more. It wasn't so like hard on my stomach. Like you have abs, but it wasn't like pressure where it's like, because I remember it could be something where it's like, do you have constipation? And it's just built up and you're like, hey man, I think I have something, but it's just built up constipation that hasn't gotten rid of. So one of the biggest things is it just helps with your overall mental health and well-being. So yeah, those are my 5 points in terms of positives. And if you want to dig in a little bit, I would love to hear.
Okay, great. Well, I got a phone call, so I don't have my earbud, but I can hear you. So I have what happens to your body when you go this route. A lot of people don't realize that when they go this route, if they don't have enough information, they start to look bad.
Yeah.
Their skin gets flaky. And that's why a lot of people I know are like, oh no, if you're vegan, you look dry, you don't look healthy. Well, let me be the first to tell you that's the reason why is because they're not getting enough protein. And protein makes you full. So it makes you look plump and it makes you look better. It makes you look healthier. Like, like I say, I'm not vegan, I eat clean. But I lean more towards that side if we had to give each other a title because I eat more lean meat and mostly vegetables. Now, of course, we have to be mindful that when we eat this way, we have to increase our B12, B complex, because like you just mentioned, it helps with your mind, it helps with your mental state. Vitamin B. Some people do vitamin B complex, but vitamin B12 is what is needed when we go this way. So that's a good thing, is for people to be mindful that they have to increase their nutrients.
Yeah.
I also think you mentioned, let's see, lowering blood pressure and heart. Okay, that's something that we can talk about on Thursday because certain foods, and you mentioned culturally, Middle Eastern, the different types of food. What I didn't mention was, even though we say we do it in moderation, what was that I wanted to talk about? The fatty acids, the minerals, all of the minerals, all of the vitamins that we need to work on. That's what I help with, because people, if they don't know, they'll say, go to your doctors, get your blood work, but they don't tell people how to read the blood work. So that's what I help with, because you need calcium, you need B12, you need omega-3. Are you eating enough of it? These are the things they're not talking about.
Yeah, and let me just butt in there, if you don't mind, is because someone will say, hey, you need more vitamin C. And what they'll do is they'll go drink orange juice, but they're not knowing that it's just rising up their sugar levels, raising up their blood pressure. And it's like, well, that's what the doctor told me. This is something where you're getting professional advice from Jewel, who will look at your lifestyle and say, we're going to get vitamin C, but not this way, because this harms your body. We're going to go this route. And that, if you don't know, is worth millions, hundreds, thousands of dollars, because you're not wasting, let alone your money. And more importantly, you're not wasting your time to figure this out. You know what I mean? So everyone knows, hey, I need vitamin D, I need vitamin C, I need B12, but how and what is going to work for your body? And what might, you know what I mean? For me, I don't like orange juice because of the high, I can literally taste the sugar in the orange juice unless I'm squeezing it myself. I don't like to have orange juice from the store, grocery store. Even if they say low sugar, this and that, I don't trust that. I'd rather just make my own, because it just throws my body off and I'm just super excited, and I don't want that type of sugar. I want it where it's in a natural form, where I can just eat an orange, eat an apple, and keep my glycemic levels down and not spike my blood sugar that way. So when it comes to oh, well, the doctor told me I got to do this. I don't trust you going after what the doctor told you. You need someone like Jewel on your shoulder telling you what the step-by-step process is. Anyone can tell you, hey, this is the problem. How do you fix it?
Yeah.
That's the problem. So yeah, I didn't mean to butt in, but that's one thing with you is you actually, you know, the to the T, the scientific, and as you can see my notes, no scientific notes at all, because Jules, the person for you. I'm not going to sit here and tell you, well, you got to increase your vitamin C. You need 200 milligrams of this. You need 500 milligrams of this. That's not my role. That's up for Jules to tell you, and what's up for your body and what works for you. So yeah, I just wanted to specify that a little bit.
Well, that's good. Thanks. And we'll, like I said, we can talk about that more on Thursday. But I keep going back to what you mentioned, because I was trying to do the pros and cons, although we are different, yet we're so similar. And yeah, sugar, if you're diabetic, you have to know how much sugar, especially with the orange. But one thing that, another thing too is, soy. You know, people were going around saying, well, if you're African American, you shouldn't eat soy. Well, there's studies that say, yes, it helps to reduce your blood pressure. It's also good for cancer patients. So if people learn how to eat soy, that can take the place of meat as well. Because I'll eat tofu, and tofu is good because I like the firm. So we can talk about these different things on Thursday. And, you know, a lot of people are saying what they do, which is great, but you still need to educate yourself about what your body needs, what your body likes. So, yeah, you mentioned healthy heart, mental health, cancer, decreased blood pressure, and diabetes. We can go into detail on Thursday about each one of those. But ultimately, to get people to understand their blood work, that's what's important. So I don't know if you saw, but on March 22nd, I'm going to start taking appointments to help people with their blood work, to help people understand. And lastly, we talked about, I think it was, how long does it take to transition? Okay, for people that, you know, what happens to your body when you go clean? I'm losing my notes. When you start plant-based, what happens to your body when you start plant-based? Well, it takes about 6 weeks. You need to know what your body is doing first, not what somebody else is telling you to do or what they do, because they may have a different reason.
Exactly.
You know, so to help somebody, and then also, you know, to get the gut healthy. Why do we go but plant-based? Is to keep our gut healthy. And because that's where disease starts. I don't think people realize that, you know, disease starts in our gut. So we have to keep our gut healthy. That's the primary reason. So if anybody wants a take-home message, that's the reason why we go plant-based, raw, or clean, is to keep our gut healthy. So, you know, we can all have different ways to how we got there and how we're feeling. Like you said, you know what doesn't work for your body. A lot of people aren't even paying attention to that. They know something's off. They know something's not right, but they don't realize it's the food that they're consuming.
And one last thing for me is, I think there's a difference between plant-based and vegan, because like I said, I would associate myself with more plant-based, where I'm eating less ingredients, because I could just go eat Doritos and have some Pepsi and be like, oh, I'm not eating meat, but doesn't those ingredients that are like 12 letters long on the back of the can, it's like, I don't want that in my body, you know? So we can talk a little more about that on Thursday as well, in terms of getting your food from a natural. And like I said, I would rather, if someone forced me, would you get a clean meat meal or Doritos, chips, Pepsi? I'd go meat. You know, there's no nourishment out of the Dorito chips, Pepsi soda, none of that stuff. You know what I mean? So what we're trying to do is, and what you said is, gut health. Those things eradicate you. They just mess up your gut. So if someone's thinking, oh, Martin's totally against meat, it's not that. I'm just against all those bad ingredients, bad products out there that are just, you know, loaded with so much ingredients that you can't even pronounce. I'm against that. But if someone says, hey, this is 93% beef, okay, let's rock and roll. Let's go. You know?
That's good. That's good. Yeah, because like I say, to get people ready to make that mind, to change the mindset that the ultimate goal is gut health.
Yeah.
You want to reduce disease, and you want to slow down the process of disease, because people are like, oh, I can't be, sorry, I got another call. So yeah, people are like, oh, I'm not gonna do it this way because X, Y, Z. But if we give them the reason, it makes sense. It's only gut health, you know. That's the ultimate goal, gut health.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
So let me see. Also for those that can't, I think, do we mention that it helps people to sleep better?
Well, for the overall well-being, like I said, for me, I was more relaxed. I felt like I could not sleep longer, but I felt like I could get into my deep sleep more, like faster. And my deep sleep was more. And I that's just because when I was eating meat, I was eating later in the night, and I, 8, 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, and you go to sleep at midnight. You think that it's digested, but it's still in there. And you think that you're going to sleep, but your body's still working. And so that was a big benefit. And I was like, man, I feel great. It's like, wow, I'm going to keep this going. And I just, one thing after another. So yeah, very, very good point.
Yeah, and if we can get people ready to know what it feels like, that's the thing. I think if we can help people to understand what it feels like to eat clean, what it feels like for your gut to be clean and free of disease. Well, we can't say free of disease, but we can slow down the process of disease. If we can get people to understand that part, then I think more people will start making a conscious decision to eat healthier. They don't have to eat healthy, because everybody doesn't have that mindset.
I like that.
But if they can eat healthier, then they would feel better, they can sleep better, they can think better. So there's so many positive reasons to change the way people eat. You may want to eat crazy over on the weekend, but once you start eating better, you don't want all that crazy stuff. It may go to once a month, once every 3 months, once every 6 months. You'll eat better, but you may slip, but that's okay.
That's okay.
Because your body will digest it. Your fecal matter won't smell bad. You can, it's a lot. But we'll talk about that on Thursday.
Yeah, no, you hit it right on the head. Perfect.
Yeah, so I'm excited about it. Like I said, I'm feeling better. If you can go to my social platforms, you'll notice that I'm getting in alignment. You'll notice that I'm eating what I always eat clean. Sometimes I eat my chips, but this time I had guacamole, spicy guacamole. I like my chips and dips from time to time. But
I don't have anything against chips. My thing is like the Doritos. Don't get me started
See,
with
and I'm not a
Doritos.
Dorito person.
Yeah.
I'd rather have tortillas or nachos
Yeah.
with guacamole and salsa. And I'm gonna start making my own salsa because I eat so much of it. I like mango salsa,
Ooh.
I like hummus, I like my pita chips. I need that crunch.
Colonel Crunch. Yeah, yeah, do
So
that crunch.
yeah,
Yeah.
I need that crunch because that crunch helps me to get through these crazy
Yeah.
times.
And also for your mind too. You
Oh
feel
yeah,
it's just different. You feel like you're eating normal food, you know? So yeah, I
yeah.
agree.
Well, I appreciate you. So that was pretty good for today. I can't wait till Thursday
Mm,
so we can talk about this in
mm,
detail and maybe we'll show them what it looks like when your gut is clean,
mm. Okay.
maybe show
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
something, do a video, so people can understand. We can't see what our body looks like,
Mm,
but when we show them what it looks like, the digestion, the system, the tracks, what it looks like with a clean gut versus one that's got piles and
absolutely.
piles of meat in the
Yeah.
gut.
Yeah.
Listen,
We can
you'll
certainly do
feel
that.
better.
We can certainly do that. We can look at the difference between the gut, the intestines, the stomach, because you'll see how it's all connected, you know, the kidneys, the
Yeah.
liver. I think we can definitely do that. You know, the reason, as you were speaking, I'm pretty sure I did see one when I was posting for my videos, just an illustration of what happens to the body when, you know, it's like the body's invisible, but then you see the stomach and it'll show the food going in there, and then they'll start telling you what's going on. So yeah, I can find that clip.
And send it
Yeah.
send it to me and I'll try and pull it up for our Thursday night
Okay.
session.
Okay. Perfect.
Okay, great. Well, our time is up. We always doggone it.
Yeah.
I enjoy speaking with you and I'll even enjoy it more on Thursday
For sure.
night. So thanks for tuning in. And for you guys, please share this. Like, go to our platforms. I'll put it in the description box and hope to see you on Thursday. We can talk more about this.
Yeah.
Okay? All right. Well, peace and blessings to everyone. Oh, I got my shirt on. Peace on earth.
Oh, I like
Peace
that.
on earth. I can't show it, but there it
There
is.
you go.
Peace on earth. All right.
All
Thanks,
right.
everybody. Have a good day. Bye-bye. See if I can end it for us. There it goes.